Hey guys, this is Ryan from resume2offer.com. Hope everyone's doing well. It has been a while since our last post, so I thought I'd make this update video. This is going to be a continuation of how to cold call the hiring manager. If you haven't checked out, we made a video last year. Strongly recommend you check that out. It's about 10 minutes. It walks you through different word phrases, templates, different ways that you can basically do that. Different word tracks to kind of get their attention. And if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. So a little bit about this is kind of like a great channel that talks about everything for job hunting. I've been in the talent acquisition space for the last 12 years. I've been an SDR, I've been an account executive. So I've been on both sides of the table. So I know a little bit about it. And I'm gonna teach you guys kind of like, and I get cold calls from people who are trying to get SDR roles. So I know what to do to kind of hook them and what they're looking for. And strongly recommend you check out the previous video we made. This one's gonna be a little bit, hey, a year's gone by. I've coached hundreds of people at this point and kind of hearing what's working and what's not working in just the space. So I wanna give you guys, share some insight on that. Got a little bit of an outline. So first thing is basically time management. Now I don't mean time management in terms of like your scheduling. You have to definitely understand in the recruiting world, there is a talent pipeline, there's a recruiting pipeline, very similar to a sales pipeline that they are looking at in terms of, hey, I'm getting so many resumes, those resumes are going, so many are going through to kind of first stage, second stage, panel interview, mock sales call, offer letter. And there's basically an entire funnel and the conversions, I'm measuring the conversions throughout the entire pipeline, the entire recruiting funnel, okay? A lot of people, when you are cold calling, you have to be aware how long the job has been open on the market, okay? Especially in sales right now. Sales, frankly, is extremely competitive. It's very, very saturated. A lot of 90% of the new jobs we're seeing is back to an office or hybrid approach in a local marketplace. 10% are still, online and remote, and that's great. But you have to be aware that it's a very competitive for those remote jobs. I'm not saying it's impossible. I see people get jobs every other day in the remote world, but it is very competitive. So you have to stand out in the marketplace, okay? Now, being aware of kind of the entire funnel, as soon as somebody posts a job, usually they're opening that funnel for the first week that it's live. The first week, they're kind of just getting the whole talent pool and collecting resumes until it reaches a certain size. And then from that, they're kind of like, okay, the door's closed. Usually it's that first week. When they get to about 1,000 resumes, that's all they need. They know that there's a few winners in that pile already. So if you start applying 2 or 3 weeks after that, or cold calling, they already have people in the pipeline, meaning they already have people that are going to second stage, third stage, offer letter. And unless you're like a referral and an amazing candidate, you try to get into the mix, they're kind of gonna probably ignore you. They might pass on you until maybe later down the road. And even at that time, they'll just ask you to kind of reapply. And I've been in that situation where it's like people will call me 2-3 weeks after the job. And I'm like, hey, I already got people going to offer stage. And if they get to offer and if they get there, then I get a commission. So, I don't want people kind of messing up the flow, so to speak. So you really want to make sure that you're doing this the first week that the job is open. Sooner the better, actually. But the first week is kind of the sweet spot where you want to be aware of this when you're doing your cold calling or any type of outreach to the hiring manager, to the recruiting manager, to the HR people. That's kind of the sweet spot that you want to do. All right. I mentioned the recruiting funnel. So I want to talk a little bit about numbers real quick. And it's very important that you understand this. So if I post a job, and right now, by the way, if anybody's in Southern California, I'm actually looking for inside sales SDR. So just FYI. But if you are, if I'm recruiting and I put a job out for inside sales or any type of SDR, I should say, any type of SDR position and account executive position, I get on average about 1,000 applications per week. Okay, 1,000 applications per week. That means 4,000 a month. That means there's a lot of competition. It's probably maybe, I would say half that for a localized, maybe a third of that, maybe 300 resumes if it's like a major area. So for example, I posted something in Irvine, California. We got about 300 applications for that. If I post it remote, it's about 1,000 applications. So just so you understand the numbers. Right now, people are kind of thinking, well, this methodology, is it obsolete? Well, I get about 1% of that who actually reach out to me and they stand out from the crowd. And that's really an important part of like being a good salesperson and you're trying to get the job. You got to stand out. What makes you stand out from the rest of the group? So only 1% actually reach out to me, and they reach out either by email or LinkedIn or cold call. I would say that 0.5% actually cold call me, okay? Now, it's even less than that they're good cold calls. So if you can stand out from the crowd, you want to cold call or do some kind of outreach, but also it has to be good. You have to really be in the role before the role. So that's very important. Now, sorry, my dog, Sarge. No. Gotta pause it, no. Okay, still going, we're back. I'm in dog training right now every Sunday for multiple hours with my dog, so he's gotten much better. He's gotten way better than he was. Anyway, so we talked about kind of the recruiting funnel, the numbers. I talk about going back into that video because I talk about a few word tracks and a few different kind of scripts you can utilize. There's also stuff I have a free shared folder, completely free. Check that out. I'll leave in the description below. You get free resume templates, email templates, cold outreach, pretty much everything you kind of need to get started. And that's totally free, so check that out as well. But if I was to give you an example, what you want to do is a lot of people will, when they cold call me, and I practice this on coaching calls, they'll cold call me and they'll just let me know like, hey, I applied to the job and I really want the job and I think I'm good. And I gotta be honest, man, there's very few have good vocal awareness or vocal projection. You're trying out for a sales role, you gotta have tonality and vocal projection. Imagine speaking, past the phone. If the person was right in front of me, I wanna be a little bit more, not you're like talking in a theater, but a little bit more like you're talking in kind of like at a party or you're talking, like a party voice, okay? Use your loud voice. You're talking there and there might be music in the background. You want that vocal projection on the phone. I would also recommend standing when you're cold calling and smiling when you're cold calling. You ever heard smile and dial? The person, when I started recruiting, guy who was the #1 cold caller, he smiled and he converted the most. So smile and dial. You want to make sure that energy goes through the phone to the hiring manager. And you want something like, hey, is this Jack? Hey, Jack, this is Ryan. I know this is out of left field, but I actually just applied to your SDR position and I wanted to show, and I was looking up your company. It looks extraordinary, really resonated with me on your product and some of your core values. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. Is it cool for a quick 30 seconds? I can tell you a little bit about myself and why I think I might be a good fit for your SDR position. Would that be okay? That would be an ideal situation. It is brief, it's brevity, and it's disarming. You're asking my permission, like, hey, can I continue for a second? And then you can talk a little bit about yourself, okay? And there's ways that you can do that. If you guys want a little bit more insight, I do recommend, hey, you can check out my website below. That's a great way. That's a great way that you can kind of like learn how to do this. So I hope this was helpful. Feel free to check out additional resources. I'll put them in the description below. #1, you can check out my website. I have a lot of content. You can schedule a one-on-one coaching call with me. I've had multiple people, they schedule one and then, hey, it works so well, they schedule another and another each stage of the process. You don't have to do that. It definitely makes me feel like, okay, good. This is helping these people out and we have a really good conversion of people getting their ideal role. Second thing, check out other resources. I have resources on courses that I would recommend for tech sales, other success courses that I've utilized that I think have drastically helped me in just life in general. So you can check those out. I always give a few freebies with the affiliate link that I post. So I hope that helps. And feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect, network. If you need some endorsements or you need something else, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, okay? All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Cheers.